They say teamwork makes the dream work, and that's how the Persian War ended. The Greeks joined together, the city-states of Athens and Sparta, Thebes, Corinth, the other Greek city-states joined together to defeat the Persians, push them out. The Persians basically just had to give up because they knew they weren't going to win, and that's how the Greeks ended up keeping their freedom, keeping their independence. But then things sort of turned a little sour. Right after the war, they were very concerned that the Persians might come back. They came back 10 years before at the Battle of Marathon, and the Greeks ended up winning. Then 10 years later, they came with King Darius. The Greeks fought the Persians all over again with the battles of Thermopylae and Salamis and the other great battles of the Persian War. The Greeks won, but what if the Persians come back for round 3? You got to be prepared. So what the Greeks did is they decided to form an alliance, a league called the Delian League. And there was a treasury on the island of Delos that housed, it was sort of an independent island in the Aegean Sea that would be used for a treasury, and the Greeks would contribute money to make sure that the Athenian navy, which Themistocles built and was instrumental in winning the Persian War, that the navy would stay strong, the army would stay strong, and everybody would be able to defend themselves from the Persians if the Persians came back, because the Persians are lurking right over there in Asia Minor, modern Turkey, and just waiting for another opportunity to come over and attack Greece. Time passed, and some of the Greek city-states thought that maybe the Persians are not going to come back. And so maybe we don't need to keep contributing all this money, and there was some talk about that, but for the most part, this alliance did pretty well with gathering this money. Now, alliance or a league or school has 10 different schools in a league, and we play each other in different sports, so we know what a league is, right? It's friendly competition. We're joining together, sort of, but it doesn't always friendly, and it doesn't always last very long because this friendliness sometimes turns into rivalry, and you have some issues with that. And that's what's going to happen with this Delian League. Eventually, some of the Greek cities kind of complain about the fact that, do we need to really keep contributing this money because the Persians probably aren't going to be coming back? And so Athens said, no, keep bringing the money in. And maybe we should move the treasury from the island of Delos and just move that to Athens. That way we can keep it safe and make sure it's okay. And some of the Greek city-states thought, oh, wait a minute, I don't know about that. And then, all of a sudden, Pericles, the leader of Athens, is building the Parthenon. The Parthenon, the big, huge building with all the columns. How is Athens affording that? How are they able to afford such a massive building project? We don't know. We have a lot of extra money laying around. They were using the money from the Delian League, from the treasury. And some of the other Greek city-states said, hold up, Athens, we're going to stop paying. We're not paying any more money anymore. And Athens said, you better keep paying, or we're going to, that big navy we have? That big army that we have? We might use it over and take over to your country and sort of rough you up a little bit, break your kneecaps, break your thumbs, you better keep paying. So Athens turned into the classic bully, and some Greek city-states didn't really pay what they were supposed to, and Athens sent some people over to mess them up a little bit. That caused lots of trouble as well. Finally, there was one city-state in particular that didn't want to pay any more money, and Athens said, you better keep paying, and this city-state said, we're not paying any more money. We're not paying you even one more dime, not one red cent more. And Athens said, if you don't keep paying, we're going to send some troops over and we're going to mess up your city. And this particular city-state said, bring it. Bring it on, Athens, because we aren't afraid of you. We're not scared of you at all. And take a guess what that one city-state was. Of course, Sparta. They had a lifelong training program. From the age of 7, kids sent to become part of the military. And then at the age of 12, they start using weapons. And by the time you're an adult, you're going to the military, and it's basically a military cult is what Sparta had going for it. And they were the strongest army in Greece. But Athens had the big, powerful navy, and Sparta wasn't afraid. This is going to lead to something called the Peloponnesian War. And this war is going to have some very disastrous consequences for Greece. You can't have a war where you're fighting yourself. That's what a civil war is. You attack another country, you might win, you might gain advantage by taking whatever resources they have. But if you are in a civil war, you could punch yourself in the face all day long. You might get a couple good punches in and really win this battle. But who are you beating? Yourself. You're hurting yourself. That's what civil war is. And meanwhile, while the Greeks, Athens and Sparta and their allies are fighting each other in this civil war, Persia says, excellent, right? They love the idea that Athens and Sparta are fighting with each other, that the Greeks are disassociated with each other and fighting because Persia is looking at an opportunity to come back again. And also, don't forget, in the north, in Macedonia, Philip and his young son Alexander the Great are also seeing this, saying, excellent, we're ready to jump in there and we're going to attack Greece. And the Greeks are going to be so busy and bruised and beat up from fighting each other that they're not going to be able to stop the Macedonians. But that's another story. I hope you enjoyed this little trip down memory lane with the Persian War leading into the Peloponnesian War. Hope you have a great day.